Now,
Welcome everybody to the Wrestling Never Sleeps podcast, where we're going to be reviewing AEW Dynamite for Wednesday, January 11th, 2022. I'm, of course, your boy Jared Never Sleeps here with
January 12th. January 12th.
It's January 12th. Sorry,
Yes.
it's the New Year's hangover still. January 12th. I'm your boy Jared Never Sleeps. I'm here with Relzy, as Adam calls you.
Oh man,
Howard.
What's going on, man? How you doing tonight?
It's gonna get over, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna get over.
I don't know about that. We might have to put it on t-shirts.
Yeah, right. Shop WrestlingNeverSleeps.com.
Yes.
We're ready. But yeah, we're here to discuss AEW Dynamite. It just ended about an hour ago. I have a lot to say about the show, but I'm gonna kind of just I'm just gonna be grateful that we have a second option outside of WWE, because the other side it gets kind of bad too. But overall, what did you think about the show? I'll let you have your thoughts first.
I think for the most part, the show, you can tell that they're trying really different because they're having these young guys at the main event level, which is good because I'm tired of seeing the same old wrestlers, like how WWE has the same old wrestlers all the time. I text a very close friend of mine during the show, like every week, and he was like, he was trying to understand why would that be the main event, and I'm like trying to explain to him, like, at the end of the day, not to sound crazy or nothing, but I'm pretty sure Tony Khan understands the network is okay with the numbers, so he's not trying to give away main event, pay-per-view quality main events every week. It's good to let these young talent, shine, because of we as fans will complain and sit here and be like, oh, CM Punk is the main event, Bryan Daniels is the main event, but what about the younger guys? And then when these younger guys are the main event, then we're still not happy about it. So personally, for me, I had no problem with the show. I like the way the show flowed. I like the debut of Brody King. He fits with Malachi perfectly. I like the fact that they actually included Adam Cole and Britt Baker's relationship now. So it was a pretty good. Yeah, it was actually a pretty good. It was a pretty good show for the most part.
Okay, yeah, I see. I was kind of wrestling with it. No pun intended. I was wrestling with, like, all right, well, is AEW that damn good that even like their, I guess, mediocre shows I think are bad because they have such a high standard?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm also trying to look at it from the lens of a casual viewer. It's a brand new network, it's a brand new company, brand new promotion, and I'm trying to look at this thing, and I'm like, all right, well, if I wasn't a wrestling fan, I took a look at this show for the first time, would I want to tune in? And the vibe I kind of got it was just it did have some cool moments, but for the most part, it was just kind of missing that star power. It was very much front loaded. I like the first segment was Adam Cole. He comes out with the Undisputed Era. Of course, the music's cool. Those guys look like rock stars, look like superstars. And we'll start off right with the first segment. Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy. I don't think that's the feud that is. I don't think Adam Cole should be feuding with Orange Cassidy. They're like on two different playing fields, and it actually kind of devalues having Adam Cole there in the first place. What do you think about the feud they're putting together?
I feel like this feud's been going on for quite some time too. Might be time to just nip that feud in the bud, but I have a feeling, and this is going to sound maybe out of left field, but I have a feeling that this feud is going to end with somehow Johnny Gargano being included in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine because, again, you have two guys that are on the same level. But to me, Orange Cassidy, he's not a guy that should ever be in line for like a world title. He's not a guy that should really be, to me, featured on the show, and he's not someone that should be working with like major talent. I would kind of stay away from that. And then also, I'm looking at the best friends and stuff, and I'm like, I'm sorry, these guys look like a bunch of like dweebs. It just, they don't have like the star power that the Undisputed Era, or whatever you want to call them, really have. So it just kind of was like the visual to me. It just didn't work for me.
Do you think these guys' contracts get renewed when it's time for contract renewal?
I think just off the strength that Tony Khan's gonna want to save face, and he's gonna want to be the guy that, like, hey, I stick to my word, and I'm not like these guys up in New York like WWE, and I don't, so. But there's so much talent out there right now with the release of WWE, the fact that Ring of Honor went down, and that's what I'm saying is like I don't want to see the best friends versus the super elite or the undisputed elite, whatever you want to call them. I just don't think that's the right feud. Or even the use of Britt Baker. It's it's kind of cool to see, like you said, the on-screen stuff with Adam Cole and Britt Baker. But don't you think we could have used her in a different feud if we're gonna do like the mixed tag team thing?
I agree. But like I said, I think it makes perfect sense to put them together. They're both heels, so it's not like one's a baby face and and it kind of makes perfect sense to kind of align her with the group.
Yeah.
If you really want to be honest about it, because she fits in with that mold. Yeah, and she fits into that mold. And besides, Young Bucks and Adam Cole and Red Dragon are not going to be together much longer anyway. It was already teased tonight. Eventually, you got two great tag teams. Eventually, one of them they're both going to want to go after the tag team belts. Only one team can be champion. So it's only a matter of time before they split. And that'll probably be when Kenny comes back. So who knows?
Yeah. Right. And those feuds are fine. I'm not with the best friend stuff, and I would like to see Adam Cole do. I think you can just get a lot more out of Adam Cole than to have him with like some guys that again are not on his level and can't be elevated. So, yeah, Britt Baker, she definitely fits in with the elite to set up the Chris Statlander match, and I think she's pretty decent in the ring. But I guess it's just something for her to do because there's really no credible challenger for her to go against. So she needs something to do while I guess they sign some new people.
No, I just think they're holding off on her and Thunder Rosa because that seems to be the match everybody's looking forward to. But in the meantime, you got to give her challengers to work with. And actually, considering the storyline that it is Statlander actually falls in perfectly for it to be the next challenger. So it works out.
Right. Yeah, and that might be a decent match as well.
Statlander's not a bad wrestler.
She's not a bad wrestler. No, she's a pretty decent look or whatever. So, moving forward, we had segment number 2. We had Wardlow versus CM Punk, and it was the squash match that wasn't. MJF accompanied Wardlow to ringside, and Wardlow just beating the shit out of CM Punk. He's hit him with the power bomb after power bomb. I think it was 7 power bombs in that match, and then he was about to pin Punk with his boot. MJF gets on the apron and says, no, put him through the table. Wardlow puts him through the table, tries to get a 10 count. CM Punk climbs in the ring. Wardlow goes for another powerbomb and ends up getting Schoolboy small package for the 1, 2, 3. CM Punk is, you're shaking your head. I was shaking my head too. CM Punk is undefeated. They tease the friction again between MJF and Wardlow.
Personally, I'm a big Wardlow fan. He gives me Batista Evolution vibes. For sure. But the fact that, and I understand because of storyline purposes, so it really doesn't hurt Wardlow in any way. But this guy dominated CM Punk. He destroyed CM Punk. Realistically, had his foot on his chest when he was about to get the. My gripe with that match, why would the referee stop counting? MJF was on her apron, granted, but the referee's in position to count to 3, and his foot is on his chest. Why not just count to 3?
And he took his foot off his chest too. That was just like, why would you do that?
Yeah, you had to win. Let him be mad after. But then they played it up, and then now next week is gonna be Punk and Shawn Spears, and I guess that'll set up MJF versus Punk at the pay-per-view. I guess I don't know, but it just seems like it's a lot of time between now and that pay-per-view, so I don't want to stretch that even more. So who knows? But Tony Khan's been pretty good with the way he can stretch out a feud, so I have a little bit of faith in him for it.
So I'm really trying to look at this from a different lens. Like, I don't want to be the guy that's like, because I'm happy that there's another option, like I said, than WWE. But I'm just looking at this and I'm like, okay, well, now we just kind of saw. I mean, Punk won, but we saw him get the shit kicked out of him. And again, if I'm the casual fan and I turn on the television, I'm like, isn't that UFC guy? He's losing again. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, so but if you're a casual wrestling fan. If you're a casual wrestling fan, you know who CM Punk is too. So you don't really look at him as that UFC guy. You might turn the channel and be like, oh, wow, he's back to wrestling. If you haven't noticed that he's back wrestling again. But
I'm just looking at it. I'm just trying to look at this from all angles and just kind of trying to play devil's advocate. Like, was this show actually entertaining tonight? That's where I'm at with it. Or did it even make sense?
I think half of AEW shows never really make sense. But I feel like there's such a different alternative from with WWE that I'm just entertained by something different. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, a lot of it doesn't make sense. A lot of it, they don't let a lot of the stuff breathe like they should, because they literally go from a segment to a match, and that match goes right from that match to the next segment. So they don't let a lot of this stuff breathe. But
it never breathes.
But I can't complain for all the action they can just give you in 2 hours, because there's sometimes it'd be like 4 matches went by and it's like 8:55 still.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay,
I noticed that too tonight. There was a lot of, I'm writing notes, and there's a lot of packed into this show, and it just boom, boom, boom. Like you actually like, oh, I forgot that match even happened, or I forgot this finish even happened when you go back and look. But that's one of the bigger issues they have, is that they just have so much talent and not enough time. And then even the talent they do have, it's like some people just, shouldn't be on TV, but they got to mix it around. But even with the Punk stuff. So then I was a little confused too, as far as like, all right, well, if you can't beat Wardlow, then he's really not going to be able to beat Shawn Spears. Like they probably should have had Shawn Spears fight him first and then moves up to Wardlow, because it really
makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
But it just looks like all of his members are just are wearing Punk down for when he fights MJF, when MJF beats him, because I do feel like MJF is going to be the first one to beat him. But I feel like that's when you're not going to hear the end of it from MJF. And
I mean, to make it, they could have made this a lot easier, and they could have did 4 weeks of them just doing promos back and forth at each other, and that probably would have been way more entertaining. Just slugfest.
Yeah, then you gave, because then in the middle of this you had great promos, but then you include the it doesn't make any sense moment when you let Sean Dean beat him by disqualification last week. So, I mean, at the end of the day, kind of gave another rub, quote unquote, to another wrestler. But in the grand scheme of things, is it really going to matter? It's almost like nobody even remembers.
He hit him with a GTS. Like that's he comes in the ring, hits the guy with a GTS, and the guy just disappeared.
I mean, when I seen it, I was like, I see what he's trying to do. I get the point, but like it wasn't even talked about this week, so it's like it doesn't even matter. Like it never even happened. So,
but even like a small thing, like if Punk turned to him and said, "I'm sorry," and then hit him with the GTS, that at least makes it okay. I'm still a baby face. I'm just doing this to screw this guy over. But like, that's just like if you at the park playing basketball and someone just takes your ball and just runs with it. Like we're middle of the game right now. What are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, they can't give us everything, I guess. But for this segment, I just wrote creative. It was a creative.
Imagine how WWE would have fumbled that segment.
WWE would have made it so much worse.
No, WWE would have that match would just ended in a disqualification.
Yeah, straight up disqualification. Yeah.
Punk with a hand, MJF would have interfered, and it just would have been a disqualification on Wardlow.
So. Absolutely. So then next week next Wednesday they have Shawn Spears versus
because the gripe for Punk. Yeah, because the gripe that makes really no sense in that match either is you got powerbombed 7 times, but you still have enough energy to muster up a roll up to a guy who barely got hit by you. He should be full of strength.
And this guy's huge. He's huge.
The guy's full of strength. He barely got hit. How is he not kicking out of a roll up?
If they're gonna do that, they probably would have been better. Maybe like MJF by accident distracts the ref. CM Punk hits him with a low blow because
that's what I thought was gonna happen. That's what I thought was gonna happen.
But a guy full strength getting a roll up, like.
Yeah, but then if he hits him with a low blow, and all his attention is directed towards Punk, and he's mad at Punk. By the quick roll up, it's almost like he's mad at MJF because he's like, I had the match won.
No, think about it. He's mad at MJF because MJF distracts Aubrey. That's what he's pissed off about, which allows CM Punk to get the low blow.
I mean, the announcers played it up pretty well when they made it seem like it was almost like MJF didn't want Wardlow to be the first one to beat Punk.
Yeah.
Because realistically speaking, if you look at that match, he should have beat Punk.
He had him beat.
Easily. Easily. So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I just want this feud to be – I just want them two to actually wrestle. And I just want to see how it turns out, how it ends. Because it could also end with Punk winning too, because Wardlow could actually cost MJF the match by accident or on purpose. So it's really a feud where you really can't tell who's really going to come out the winner.
Yeah. Who do you think needs that win more, Punk or MJF?
So to further the storyline, Punk. To further the storyline of Wardlow and MJF, it would be Punk. But who really needs to win more? MJF, of course. Punk could take the loss. MJF. MJF definitely needs to win more. It's to further cement his heel run, and to be a scum of the earth. He needs that, because you won't be able to tell him otherwise. If he wins, he'll brag about it every week.
Yeah, I think it's better. Like even Chris Jericho, he always brings up, well, his last WWE run, he still would be like, I beat The Rock and I beat Stone Cold Steve Austin the same exact night. He's just a great, it's a great accomplishment to have for your whole career. So yeah, I would agree. MJF definitely needs that win to kind of elevate himself. And that's something you always say. He gave CM Punk his first loss.
Yeah, exactly. Guys like Punk and guys like Danielson don't really need the wins that much.
No,
not at this point in their career.
And it's not even difficult to build them back up again. You know, it's not. Yeah, it won't be difficult at all. Switching gears, the match number 2 of the night was Powerhouse Hobbs versus Dante Martin. And Powerhouse Hobbs is a guy I like. I just feel like he needs a little bit more time.
He needs to break away from Team Taz.
Yeah, I think so. He just mean, nasty. He's an athletic guy, big guy.
If you really think about it realistically, what has Team Taz really done for his career? Honestly,
nothing. And he's stuck in that kind of he just stuck in purgatory between AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation, and I think there's better use for him. But again, there's not enough time for these guys. And one thing I always remembered about Powerhouse Bob, I just remember him losing to Orange Cassidy twice. That still sticks in my mind, that him losing to Orange Cassidy. And I'm just like, why do they keep on like screwing this dude over?
The funny thing is, Orange Cassidy's a lot more believable wrestler if he didn't have the gimmick he had, because dude can actually go in the ring.
He can go, yeah.
When you see the soul kicks or the hands in the pants, it's almost like, you know, how do these wrestlers even allow themselves to let him get his gimmick off? That's the part that kind of looks crazy.
Yeah, there's a time and place for that, but I don't think it should be at the expense of guys like Powerhouse Hobbs, who you can easily make like a TNT champion, who can be a world champion at some point in his career. But when you kind of use him in this comedy space, it hurts the character.
I would say he would be better off for WWE, but then I look at what they did to Keith Lee, and I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah, no one's ever better off in WWE unless your name is Roman Reigns. You're never better off in WWE
or Uso at this point.
Yeah, or Charlotte or Sasha
or Brock.
Right. But yeah, he loses to Dante Martin in this match.
Well, at least it's not like an out of nowhere win. They were feuding. The only head scratcher for me is like, did they switch it from Leo being in his corner to now Jay Lethal?
Yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah, Jay Lethal just popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, but remember that to me, I felt like that was Leo's spot, but I don't know what's going on with Leo. So who knows? Maybe he retired again. I don't know.
And then what's up with Jay Lethal? He comes out, he debuts for AEW. He has one match for the TNT title. He loses to Sammy Guevara, and then he's back
he's
to
on
like
he's on Dark and Elevation. I just seen him this week. He was on Dark Elevation, tagging up with Sonny Kiss.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I did see that match.
So I don't know.
Again,
well, maybe they found their way to bring it back now in this feud with Team Taz. Give him something to do. Yeah.
It just they should squeeze all this talent into like a little small box, and it's just not going to happen, unfortunately. I feel like Tony Khan is really trying to stick to like what he had in plans in place. And he's just trying to stick to that plan and just go see everything through.
Who knows?
Yeah. And then I made notes. John Cena made an appearance on AEW via Wipeout. He was he was in one of the commercials. You like the picture.
Listen, anything for publicity. You get that man's face on AEW television any way you can.
John Cena is all elite. You get to keep his name. Yeah, I wrote down.
See him every week. You just won't see him every week.
Right. We never see him.
Hobbs, I don't know. Because eventually, if you really think about it, he's not going to be the focal point of Team Taz. Ricky Starks is for now, but Hook is on the rise. So who's to say how that turns out? What if it comes a point in time where Taz wants his son to have the FTW belt? Then what happens now? Are you gonna kick out Ricky Starks?
Here's my overarching question to that. would the fans even care about any of that stuff?
If they would have Hooks
Would
involved,
the audience be
just because
invested
Hook
in
is
any of the feuds?
if Hook's involved, yeah, just for the simple fact that his following it seems to be ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you notice too that as weird as it sounds, he's Taz's son, but you notice that now that he's wrestling, they're keeping him away from Team Taz.
Yeah, I think because he's just cool. He's just a cool by himself, like.
But he used to come out with Hobbs all the time, and now he doesn't come out at all.
Yeah,
and
I think he's outgrown that stuff. Just like Jurassic Express don't come out with Marco Stunt. It's just like, all right, we got to move away from this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, but I don't know. It just seems like eventually he won't be part of them anymore. I can see him branching away from Team Taz.
Yeah, I think he's gonna kind of have to do his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just better off for him. He's got to break up from the band because, like we said, and what we noticed is that he's on his own, doing his own thing. He's got his own following. People are enjoying his squash matches every single week. So, Team Taz is kind of like
he's developed quite a following.
Yeah, it's a black hole pit. So the next segment we had Inner Circle, and they had a backstage segment, and I had to pause on this. So
these guys need to just break up already.
They do, yeah. They have to. Someone has to turn heel on Jericho. But my question was, they said faction of the year, Inner Circle. Do you think Inner Circle was the faction year for 2021?
If you had, honestly, no. If I honestly had to go faction of the year, it would probably be the Bloodline.
Had to be the Bloodline. That was the first thing that popped up in my head. It had to be the Bloodline to be the faction of the year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the only thing I can say is that Inner Circle was faction from the whole year. The Usos and Roman didn't join up to like around SummerSlam, so maybe
right. But even if the Bloodline was only a faction for the last month of the year, there was nothing that was amazing that the Inner Circle did last year. I mean, what was it? All right, Sammy Guevara won the TNT title.
Stadium Stampedes. That's about it.
I think that was 2020.
No, they have one against Then they have one against the Pinnacle this year.
That cage match, the Blood and Guts.
Yeah. Well, Jericho. That's when they lost that one. But then they had the Stadium Stampede. Remember, because Sammy pinned Shawn Spears.
Right. But I still don't think they had a better year than the Bloodline.
Nah. But it's all about how you book too. So it's a crime. It's a crime that Santana and Ortiz are not going after the tag team belts.
Yeah, I think they should turn heel against Jericho.
I think that's what's going to end up happening. You can kind of see it.
And I think that's kind of Kingston. Like, I feel like fans are kind of getting tired of Chris Jericho.
Yeah. That's when he can go away and go do his music and come back months later. Like, if you ask me, I think he's going to be a surprise entrant in the Rumble this year. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's the report now. WWE, they're kind of having no borders type of policy, and they're trying to get a couple surprises.
That could be a high risk, low reward. Because Jericho really is not going to be in to win it, but to have him show up on WWE TV in a Royal Rumble would still be big.
So let's talk about that for a second, because they're saying that WWE is allowing people to be in the Royal Rumble from different promotions. So here's my thing with that. I don't believe that Vincent Kennedy McMahon is going to allow people to go into the Royal Rumble and look good at the expense of his signed people. So it's like, I was talking to one of my buddies in our wrestling group chat, and he was saying like it'd be great if Brian Cage was in the Royal Rumble this year. But I'm thinking about that. Like, you really think Vince gonna allow him to go in the ring and like throw out Dolph Ziggler and Ricochet and power bomb Sami Zayn?
Yeah. Okay, so look at it this way. Maybe Vince wouldn't want him to look good in front of his big stars, but what about the low jobbers? What if he has like a Ricochet and a Cesaro, and then say like somebody like Jericho comes out and eliminates one of them? That's not going to harm them. It's not going to harm Jericho. And then Jericho can get eliminated by somebody like a Big E or something.
Okay, fair enough. So you really got Vince McMahon like jobbing out his jobbers for
exactly
another promotion's property.
Listen, man, fired half his company. You think he cares about the jobbers in the Rumble?
Right. Fair enough.
I can see it.
I just don't. Vince
now, do I see him?
Not,
Do I see him like somebody like Like, first of all, you want a big name. You don't want like a Brian Cage. Brian Cage might show up and people might just be like, oh, like, who is that? You understand what I'm saying? You need somebody like a Jericho or somebody like nah, you ain't gonna go that far. Because Kenny Omega would have to be, yeah, but I wouldn't have him in a Rumble. I'd have him show up and face Roman, and then nothing ever comes out of it. But it still would be a big moment.
What if Kenny Omega won the Royal Rumble?
Then you would have to look at WWE and AEW in a big partnership.
I mean, I'm just saying that'd be pretty amazing if you had Kenny Omega versus running Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for WWE
I think it would be like
I'm the belt collector. This is the last one I don't have.
And it'd be Kenny versus Seth because Seth's winning that title, so it'd be Kenny versus Seth, and that match alone too would still be worth the money. Those two putting on them, oh my god, those two putting the match on together.
Kenny, Seth, Brock, Roman.
It's a deep, but okay? So my question is, that's a great WrestleMania main event. But what does AEW get out of this? Because you get Omega at WrestleMania, but he's gonna lose. You know he's not winning. So, like, do we get like an invasion angle between the two companies for the next couple of months? Do we get like just a one-off?
It probably wouldn't be possible. It's not possible, but
like, do we see the bloodline on Dynamite? Do we see? Is it possible we can see Adam Cole and Undisputed Era reunite just for the sake of reuniting? It's possible if that happens, but we talking like Vince McMahon is really open to do business. We know full well this is nothing big is coming out of this.
It's gonna be like it'll be Chris Jericho and like who else will be in the Royal Rumble from Matt Hardy, Mickey James come back.
Yeah, right. Those kind of guys, like guys that were like former WWE stars just to get that one last pop.
Right. Yeah, that's what we're getting, and maybe like not even Ruby Soho, but who else? That
it's probably
Mark Henry.
We talk about all this. It's probably just gonna be Braun Strowman.
Yeah, right. Hornswoggle. So let's see. Next segment was just they announced CM Punk versus Shawn Spears, and then Undisputed Era had a little segment where they said it's gonna be Britt Baker and Adam Cole versus Chris Statlander and Orange Cassidy.
I love the fact that they all just pick on Brandon Cutler.
Yeah, that's like the running joke.
Yeah. Can't wait till he turn on them one day.
But maybe it's my WWE bias. I grew up watching WWE. I like a lot of these people look like a bunch of just nerds. Like they're just not like impressive looking, really.
You sound like you work in Vince McMahon's office.
Yeah, like I know it. When Roman Reigns was saying a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, he was saying that like, yeah, it's all cool and everything, but like who's over on this show? Like everyone's theme music is more over than the wrestlers. And outside of like Britt Baker,
Adam Cole,
Bryan Danielson, who else is
Adam
over?
Cole might be the most over wrestler on that roster.
But they're gonna blow it by having him in stupid feuds. That's the issue.
He'll never lose his popularity because he can make it up by the wrestling that he puts on in the ring.
It's just his theme music. His theme music is the biggest thing that's over right now with him.
But that's always been his biggest thing.
Huh?
That's always been his thing, though.
But he can go in the ring. Like that's just usually we're just like it. Like, all right, he's a great wrestler, and in addition to that, his theme music is good. But now it's kind of like the theme music is superseding the wrestler because they put him in like stupid matches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know.
Let's see where he's at 6 months from now. We'll revisit this 6 months from now.
Hopefully, he's the world champion.
He is the number one contender, technically.
Yeah, and well,
I mean, although someone stepped in line for that, but
that's the next segment. Excellent segue. Excellent segue.
Thanks.
So we had Hangman Adam Page came out. I wrote that he's dressed dumb. I really hated the show low key. I didn't like the thing he had on, but
you had a lot of gripes about AEW tonight.
What's up?
You had a lot of gripes about AEW tonight.
I like the promotion. It's always good, but it's like, what do you do? What are you guys doing with this?
But you know, it's funny. Like you say, he dressed dumb, but that's just how he dressed, though. So it's nothing new.
Yeah,
he's a cowboy.
Yeah, he's a cowboy.
What did we say? What did we say when Kenny Omega was dressing like Triple H 2005 a couple months ago? The suit and the beard and everything.
Yeah, it made sense though. It made because it's Kenny Omega. He seems like a star.
Well, he is a star.
He at least seems like a star. Yeah, he seems like a star, larger than life. But Hangman just looks like he just showed up. All right, we go to the thrift store right quick. I got a promo tonight.
Hangman for me feels like he does nothing for the title. I hate to say it. It's him feuding with Lance Archer. I'm not excited about it. I mean, I'm excited for no because you realize he's not going to lose the belt, but it's just like Lance Archer. I mean, it's a great way to bring him back. At the end, I mean, once he came running to the ring, I kind of already knew where this was headed. Yeah, like, it didn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. Yeah, like, what do you think about Dan Lambert?
I was just about to get to that. Dan Lambert is freaking hilarious.
He's their version of Jim Cornette.
He's got a great promo. Yeah, it's like a Jim Cornette parody, but like he really be snapping on people on the mics. Like he had it like it almost buried Hangman the way he was like joking on him.
Yeah, it's like how he does Cody, and then he gets cheered for it though.
Yeah. But yeah, Dan Lambert is great on the mics. I laughed at it. I forgot what joke he said against Adam Page, but I was like, yeah, this is actually pretty funny.
Guy's gold on the mic.
Yeah. But yeah, Lance Archer will probably be in a feud with Hangman Adam Page. I guess the great thing about this feud is essentially, good for Lance Archer. He's back. He had that weird botched what was it, a moonsault he tried?
Yeah, he almost killed himself.
With that. So he's back, he's healthy, and Adam Page is a decent wrestler. So they have some very interesting styles that it could probably be a decent match, but of course, Lance Archer is not going to win that. But it'd be a great match to add to Hangman's resume.
It also makes it good because it makes Hangman look like the underdog. Because Lance Archer is a much bigger guy than he is. So you always want to play on the kind of underdog thing. Can't do the whole he beat up Dark Order because Bryan Danielson already did that, so we're not going to do that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, for a big feud to have after I keep calling him Daniel Bryan, after Bryan Danielson, I think it's not a bad feud to have after, because it kind of you went to this whole big feud with Bryan, and then all of a sudden it was like this big physical feud, and it wore you out. But you went like 60 and 30-minute matches. Now you get this match, you probably go about 10, 15 minutes at most, but it's still going to be another physical feud. So beating a guy this big is just going to make you more credible as a champion. So, I mean, when he eventually loses it to MJF, I feel like that's who he eventually will lose it to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can see it.
I think, like from a strictly like art perspective, it's just two guys, different sizes, different styles. So it's just kind of cool to see them fight in a ring. I think that's what the best things that'll come out of it. But personally, I think Bryan Danielson should be the world champion right now. But here we are. But we'll give Hangman a chance to prove himself.
The problem is he came around at a time when Hangman had just won the title. Had this been maybe 3 or 4 months down the line, then he probably would have taken the title off of him. But then he had to kind of get shifted into a heel role because he took the role that pretty much Moxley was supposed to have. So who knows? And him and Moxley would not have put on 30 to 60-minute matches. So this kind of actually was a blessing in disguise for Hangman.
Yeah, it worked out. And rumor has it that he'll be back soon too, Moxley.
I thought he was coming back this week, to be honest with you. But who knows?
But it won't be in the Royal Rumble.
That's another rumor. That's another rumor that he may be the 30th entrant. That would be interesting.
No, there's no way. He hates WWE. He said, they offered me a lot of money. And I was just like, I'm miserable. No way.
Man, listen, who knows? Money talks nowadays. You've been out of wrestling for a minute, and you're not signed with the other company. So if the booking is right and they can come to some type of agreement where his character doesn't get played, could you imagine a Moxley versus, and I'm not talking about a Dean Ambrose either, a Moxley versus Seth Rollins WrestleMania match?
Moxley versus Seth Rollins. Yeah, that ship has sailed. That ship has definitely sailed on that.
You think so?
Yeah.
The only thing that would kill me is that they probably would want Moxley to go back to wrestle a WWE style match, and that's probably what would kill all momentum for it. So, you're right. It might not be a good idea. I take that.
Yeah, he wants to hit hard, and that's just not. The styles are so different in WWE and AEW, so that's not gonna.
Yeah, I take that back.
Out of the forbidden door, it's gonna be like Chris Jericho and stuff like that. It's not gonna be anything, I don't think, too crazy.
There's not gonna be anybody that like it'll be exciting to see Chris Jericho because he's another wrestler and another, but it's still Chris Jericho. It'll be, but now the question is if it is Jericho, does he come out to Judas or does he come out to break the walls down?
I was just about to say that. I was just about to ask you that. So here's what I think. I think it would be very cool to have Judas play for a WWE audience.
Can you imagine a crowd singing the song?
They would, yeah, for sure. They would.
Vince McMahon would sit in the back like, what the hell song is this and why do people know this song?
Yeah, speaking of which, they are saying that John Laurinaitis has been calling. She was the one that called Mickie James to see if she can be in the Rumble. And she's like, I work for Impact. John Laurinaitis had no idea.
Really?
Yeah, no idea she worked for Impact. Yeah, and that she was the champion.
Oh wow!
Yeah, wow. Isn't that crazy?
Wow,
that's crazy, right?
So he just assumed after all this time she just wasn't working.
He just thought she just wasn't working.
Wow,
I had no clue.
I probably would have just said no, just because I would have felt insulted that you didn't even know I was working for another company.
Yeah, they don't pay attention to that stuff.
But knowing her, she probably just looks at it like, I can get exposure for my company on TV. She probably thinks she could talk them into letting her walk out with the belt. But then the fear with that is she can walk out with the belt and still be the first one eliminated.
Yeah, I wonder how that's gonna work too.
It's gonna work with Charlotte being number one and her being number two, and they're gonna say this is the first time two women champions from two different promotions are in the same ring together at a Royal Rumble watch.
They like them first. They definitely like them first.
Yep. And then Mickey will probably go about 20 minutes and then get eliminated by like Kelly.
Yeah, right. So I wonder how like protective these promotions are about their belts nowadays, because that was a whole big thing back in the day. You know, like Alundra Blaze or Medusa, whatever you want to call her, when she dropped the belt in the trash, which basically created it paved the way for the Montreal Screwjob to happen. So I wonder like how protective Impact is for their belt, because you don't want your champion to go over there and just get like, you know, jobbed out by, I don't know, what girls are there. There's no comedy girls.
No, and that's the thing too, right? Because she can sit there and go, okay, I'll do this Rumble spot, but I want like 15, 20 minutes in the Rumble, and they can be like, okay. And then the day of the Rumble comes and they be like, yo, you're gonna only be like, unless she got that in writing, that's the only way.
30 seconds.
Yeah, she come in the ring, maybe last in one entrance, and then another entrance come out, and they double team her and eliminate her. Like, only way that would work for me, honestly, is if it was like another member of like Impact that came out and eliminated her. That way, at least it could create another feud for Impact when they go back on Impact.
So like something like that would make sense, because they can go back to.
But then it's WWE, so how much stuff actually makes sense?
Right, but then WWE is basically doing a favor to Impact. If that happens,
well, the favor still is for WWE. Probably looking at it like, we're getting no more years on our TV. That's good enough.
Right, but I'm saying, okay, Mickie James goes into the ring and then she starts fighting with an Impact person, and they eliminate each other and they start fighting. That momentum that they saw from the Royal Rumble gets transferred to Impact, and people will watch Impact to see like the payoff of that feud. Like
they're fighting each other through the curtain on Royal Rumble, and they should come out through the curtain on Impact, like as if they were fighting for like 4 days straight.
Like the Chicken and Peter Griffin on Family Guy. They've been scrapping.
It'd be like the Impact comes on, and as soon as Impact comes on, they're coming through the rings. They're coming through the corral, still fighting.
That'd be funny. Switching gears.
If it happens, you heard it here first, though. Remember that.
Yeah, they're still in ideas. We want our commission for that.
Yeah, you got that right.
So we got the next match was Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida.
I was disappointed.
Well, explain.
I mean, I was disappointed because I know what these women can do, because they put on 2 great matches so far. This match only went about like less than 10 minutes. I mean, I get the angle because she was, she attacked the knee before the match, and then she beat her up, and then she referees. But still, it was like, I feel like this match could have went a lot longer.
So the crowd was kind of a killer for me too, because the crowd were just not into it, and like wrestling
tonight.
You need energy. You need that. Like the crowd is what gets things going. And the crowd just wasn't feeling it. The performance was good. I mean, Serena Deeb was really like hitting her and stuff, and like even when she hit her when she's going down the ramp, and her promo was pretty good last week as well. But the fact that there was really no energy in this feud and there just was not a reason to care, it kind of killed it. Like it kind of ruined it for the performers. You know what I mean? Like it didn't really.
I feel like they need to put the belt on Serena Deeb, TBS title, or one of the belts. Like the character that she has right now is like it's almost like she needs a belt to prove the point of why she's a professor of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Like all of that doesn't mean anything if you don't have a belt to go with it.
Because she is good. It just for some reason she's not catching on. For some reason she's not catching on.
Like she could be the professor of professional wrestling and have a stable of like her students.
Yeah.
Something. She needs something. Because like you said, it's not catching with the audience. So she needs either a title or a stable.
Yeah, probably stable will work. But again, there's like the women's division over there is not good. It's not really that good. So it's like you need the people to work with as well to kind of help you. Like, you know, Batman needs the Joker, God needs the devil. The Lakers need the Celtics, but then there's not any of that in AEW in the women's division.
No,
outside of Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. I think that's the money match.
That's it. And that's it. And that's what I'm saying. Like who, like at this point, who would Jade even be fighting? Like who would be her Batman, so to speak? They don't have one.
They don't have that.
Nope. So
they don't have that at all. And
she's gonna carry that belt for the next. She's gonna carry that belt for a couple months because there's really just nobody to really challenge her.
Same thing with Britt Baker.
But I feel like they also created that belt to keep her away from Britt Baker. Because think about it. If you're winning matches constantly, it's only a matter of time before you actually fight Britt. And I'm pretty sure they don't want those two nowhere near each other right now.
Yeah, she's not ready. She's not ready. So you throw her with a belt and she can do squash matches for the next 6 months because
like I feel like her match this week on Dark was a lot better than her match with Ruby Soho. Because it played to her strengths and allowed her to be her without having to have like someone like Ruby Soho try to carry the match because that did not work at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, she's still very, very new to the sport. So it's going to be a while, but I mean, she's got a great look. She's like, looks like a freaking beast. So she's got a lot of potential there, but it's going to take time for her to catch up with, you know, with her look to her skill.
Yeah, definitely.
And then backstage, we had a promo. It was Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian. And Dark Order interrupts them, and they asked them for a date on Friday. And so we're going to have the Dark Order versus...
I like the Dark Order. I like Silver and Reynolds, but I feel like they need to be a little bit more serious, especially if they want tag team titles.
Yeah, I don't like the Dark Order, so I'm biased. But like, because they remind me of like, remember in Saved by the Bell, like the Greeks, the geeks that Screech used to like lead. That's what Dark Order reminds me of. You know.
So Adam Page is like Zach, and the rest of them are just like follow.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the rest of it is like geeks. So, so they get in a tag team match, and then
Rampage.
Also Space versus Space, which
is it's on Rampage too.
What's that?
It's on Rampage.
And it's on Rampage.
Yeah, so it's not like it's gonna be seen like next week, where it actually means something. I really don't feel like much matches on Rampage mean much. They have a lot of matches; they're good matches, but there's really no real like. Yeah, you put the tag team titles on the line, but you know they're not beating them.
They're not beating them. But again, who do you root for? Because it's face versus face. You know, like how the psychology.
The way I see this match going. Of course, obviously Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy is going to win, but I feel like Christian's going to cheat to help them win because I really feel like it's eventually going to start where Christian's going to end up turning on Jurassic Express. So I think this is where it starts.
Yeah, I definitely see that too. But man, damn, they need to cheat to beat Jurassic Express.
No, I just think Christian will.
I mean, the Dark Order.
Yeah, I just think Christian will just do something that inadvertently helps them win. Maybe Jungle Boy questions it, and then they just move about their business, and then Christian start doing it more and more, which will eventually lead to the turn.
How do you feel about the use of Christian in AEW? He was a.
Can you be too mad at him? He was an Impact champion. He was an Impact champion. He beat Omega when Kenny hasn't been pinned in a long time. So, I mean, can you really complain about the career you had? You don't have to wrestle. You're healthy, obviously, but he's still on TV whenever Jurassic Express. So it's not like you're not on TV.
Yeah.
So I think he understands. I think he understands right now. Like I think those tag team titles are like a prelude to a feud with him and Jungle Boy. That'll be Jungle Boy's biggest win.
That would be a very good feud, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That would be a very good feud. Yeah, for sure. Jungle Boy needs that, and then Jungle Boy needs that, and Christian needs that as well. I feel like
Christian's a better heel anyway.
Pairing. That's the perfect pairing.
Christian's a way better heel anyway.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still mad the WWE didn't do more with him when he entered the Royal Rumble in 2020 and Edge won that.
You know what? In retrospect,
you can keep the Edge and Christian thing going. But
in retrospect, I'm glad they didn't do, because all he would have been was the catalyst to be destroyed for Roman before the Edge feud. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And then Edge still would have got pinned simultaneously with Daniel Bryan at the time. At WrestleMania. So
it's almost like we all forgot about that.
I didn't. It's etched in my memory.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of legends of wrestling, the next match was Matt Hardy, and I wrote Matt Hardy with Street Profits Light versus Penta.
Street Profits Light.
It's like these guys have they bought Street Profits costumes from Party City and went out.
They had so much potential until they got with Matt Hardy, and it's like everything changed.
Yeah. Love Matt Hardy's career. I love the Hardy Boys. I didn't want to see this match. I had no interest in this match. Penta had his partner Ray Phoenix got injured, so he needed something to do. Not sure if Matt Hardy was the dancing partner for him.
I personally think Matt Hardy's just winding his time until Jeff gets there.
Yeah,
you can kind of see it. It just looks like I think somehow in his Andrade feud, Andrade's going to end up taking over Hardy family office.
Yeah,
and then it's going to end up putting Matt Hardy out, and then he'll come back with Jeff, and then all is right with the world because the Hardy Boys will be together again.
Because you also can see that throughout the show, these tag teams are forming. You got a lot of tag teams.
Mm-hmm. You can see it. And,
but you got to use them right, no
Hardy
FTR tonight?
Yeah, they were there.
They were there?
They challenged Brock and what's the guy on the Nightmare Family?
Oh, right. Yeah. I know
next week.
About. Yeah,
because they was talking about the whole Horseman Country thing.
Got you. Okay.
They gave Arn the ultimatum to join with FTR and Tully.
Yeah, they kind of threw that in there somewhere in the show.
Yeah, it was like a real quick backstage segment.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that. And Arn's kid looks exactly like him too.
Yeah, he does. Exactly it's scary. Like he looks like he's about 22 and he looks like he's about 45.
Yeah. It's like that. What's that Will Smith movie where he fights himself as a young guy? Gemini Man or something?
Gemini Man, yes.
Yeah.
That movie was weird.
Yeah, very weird. So Matt Hardy versus Penta. Penta gets the win over Hardy. And there was how did this happen? This was
all set up for Malachi and Brody King anyway.
Right.
That's what the whole setup was.
The Varsity Blondes were there. They beat up somebody. I remember.
The Varsity Blondes came out. They beat up Malachi because Malachi. Right. Remember, Malachi was about to take the mask off of Penta.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The Varsity Blondes came out, and then they were beating them up, and then Julia stopped them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And then Malachi laughed at all of them, and then the lights went off, and Brody came and destroyed them all. Brody looks like a bigger version of Malachi Black.
Yeah, for sure. Pikachu and Raichu right there.
Yeah, it's like a giant version.
So, yeah,
they're a tag
those guys
team.
Look badass.
And those guys are a tag team.
They should be on television. You can just tell Brody King looks like a star.
And that's another tag team now.
Yeah. If this is your first time seeing them, this should be people that should be on TV, not like the 2.0.
That guy's huge. No, actually huge. Like 2.0. Huh? 2.0 serves a purpose. 2.0 is a team that makes the most out of the time they have on TV, and I'm not mad at them for it.
Well, I look at it like this. If you have guys like FTR, if you have guys like this tag team we just seen that's emerging, Brody King and Malachi Black.
I think they're called the Kings of the
House of Black.
No, they actually have a team name because this guy said it, the one with the mask. They called the
Yeah.
Knights of the Black House or the Kings of the Black House or something like that. It was an interesting name that he said too. I was like, oh, that was different.
Yeah. Well, my point being is that if you have people that actually look like stars, that also can happen to
Knights
work,
of the Black.
teams have to take a back seat.
They're called the Kings of the Black Throne.
The Kings of the Black Throne, and they have a cool ass name.
Yep. And they're already tag team champions in another organization, so it's only a matter of time before you see the belts come out with them.
So like Skip and Stephen A used to say, the seeing eye test. So if you're flipping through the channels and you see these guys on TV, you're gonna stop and be like, "Oh, what the hell's going on here?"
Of course, of course,
for sure.
Malachi alone. Then you add Brody with
Malachi
him.
alone. Badass
WWE dropped the ball. WWE dropped the ball with that man big time.
Yeah, they don't know what to do with these guys, which is just crazy. Really crazy. So Brody King debuts, that was cool. And then you had the main event. The interim TNT champion, Sammy Guevara versus Danny Garcia.
Okay, so now I don't know if you noticed. During the whole night, Sammy had a different TNT title. He had the original one that didn't have all the blinged out diamonds in the middle. And when he won the match at the end, when they gave him the belt, they gave him the blinged out version, the one that Cody uses.
Yeah.
Because when
I
he
noticed
won it on Saturday.
I just said it.
Yeah, because when he won it on Saturday and they gave him the belt, I was like, oh, he has the old TNT title. The one before Miro had it. And when they gave him the title tonight, when he won the match at the end, they gave him the version that Cody has. So I don't know how that's going to play out on TV next week.
What do you think it signifies? Is it because
you hear notice that every TNT champion has their own version of the TNT belt?
Yeah.
So I feel like probably maybe they just had a quick belt for the time being, but that's
gotta get pretty costly too.
Tony Khan has money. I'm sure not worried about that.
I know, but just to give someone a belt, like belts are kind of expensive.
If guys like Miro ever win the belt back, you just go back to the same belt he had with the green.
Yeah, right.
So it doesn't matter. But yeah, I just felt like I was just like, okay, they gave him a different version of the belt. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. Like I seen it. I was just like, oh, I don't know. Nobody ever paid attention to that, but I just paid attention to it.
Yeah,
because I've seen the belt change so many times that now I can always pay attention to if it's a different, like if it has a different look to it, depending on who's the wrestler holding it. So,
what do you think of the match overall?
The match was good. I kind of wish, if I booked it, honestly, I probably would have booked Daniel Garcia to win that. I actually think the kid has potential. I don't like the fact that a dude can challenge for a title so many times and constantly lose. But I understand where they're going with this. They have to get that Sammy and Cody match one more time. So I get it. But still feel like maybe Daniel should have won the match.
I think it would have been an interesting spin to the story. Because it's an interim title. So if someone else won it, I think that's kind of cool. But like your friend said, like he asked, like, why did this go on last? And wrestling fans could definitely be hypocrites. When we get new people, we complain. When we get old people, we complain. But I like Sammy Guevara, but I just don't think that he's there yet.
He's not doing anything for the TNT title.
What's that?
He's not doing anything for the TNT title.
He's not doing anything for the TNT title. It was cool when he won the first time.
No, it's still not even. I didn't even. I
wasn't
even impressed with the first reign.
Huh?
I don't think they should have taken it off of Miro.
Well, and we haven't seen Miro, by the way. Where's Miro been?
Probably hurt. That's the only thing I can think of. But there was an interesting
Miro match. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there was an interesting reason why they took the belt off of him. I can't remember what exactly it was, but in his country, there's like this thing with the gods or whatever the case may be, where like I think after the 7th day or something like that, you're as the god in your country is defeated or something like that, and he lost his title in the 7th reign. So it was like a story behind. It was like a cool story behind why he lost it. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, which is not something you often see, but it was a cool story behind it losing.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. But as far as Gavar and Miro, I thought that was a good match, and I liked the celebration and the kind of for that time elevated a new star. But for now, it's just kind of like, eh. And I mean,
I'd rather the
Cody
title
win
go back on
either?
Darby. I'd rather put
What's
the belt
that?
back on Darby. I'd rather than put the belt back on Darby.
It's got to be on something I feel like that can put on good matches. I like Miro's reign for sure.
But this is where it
It's time
gets
for him to
scary.
kind of.
But this is where it gets scary because this is where I feel like Cody feels like he's the best fit for the title.
Yeah, because he uses it as kind of like the media championship. He just goes around. He can go on different shows and he can have his.
And he can't win the heavyweight title, so this is essentially his heavyweight championship.
Right. If I was booking, I would have instantly turned Cody Rhodes heel. He should have went back on his word, blindsided Hangman Adam Page, win the title, biggest heel in wrestling.
I agree.
Biggest heel in wrestling.
I mean, he's an EVP. What can they tell him?
Biggest, and then he does it on Hangman. Everyone loves Hangman. He just got the belt. He just won it last night.
He could have pretended like he was just joining up with him. He could have pretended he was joining up with him and just turned on him.
Yeah.
To the point where, as a heel, he could have literally just been like, I can't fight for the title, but have Hangman go him into it, or have Hangman put something on the line himself and like, I'll put this belt on the line and my career, but you got to fight me. And, something for him to be like, he can't resist getting the title shot.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But here
I always say when Cody wins the title, he's going to win. When Cody turns full heel, it's going to be because he used the pedigree to do it. Watch. I keep saying this because he keeps teasing that pedigree. It's going to be a pedigree.
I would love for Cody Rhodes to just do the whole McMahon Helmsley era with Brandy.
I think that would be great. Rumble. What if he comes out in a Rumble?
I can't see that. That would be crazy, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. I think Tony Khan has a better chance of entering the Royal Rumble than Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, Tony too, probably.
Yeah. Might mess around and win.
Tony doing. Fight Vince at WrestleMania.
Tony Khan versus Vince at WrestleMania.
That would be epic.
What would you rate this episode?
Oh, you missed one segment. The Acclaim versus Bear Country.
Oh yeah, I skipped that. But
I mean, the whole point of that was just Sting and Darby getting their revenge. The whole point was just Sting and Darby. The whole point was just Sting and Darby getting their revenge.
Yeah. That's all it came down to. Bear Country, I saw them in like that tag team battle royal they had last year. I thought they looked really great. And then they haven't really done much ever since. Like I said before, the guy in a previous episode, the guy in the Bear Country that lost to Hook was like something too crazy for him. Yeah. But yeah, that was really more about Sting and Cody. Sting and Darby.
It would be good fits for NXT 2.0.
They definitely would. Which reminds me, I wrote this down in my notes. I'm gonna say a controversial statement. I'm gonna say a controversial statement. I might get canceled.
You heard it here first, guys.
AEW tonight was no better than NXT 2.0 yesterday. It was the same dang quality show. You heard it.
I don't know.
And dare I say, NXT 2.0 had a better main event.
Yeah, considering, considering they did. But no, I'm lying. Sorry, I'm gonna go with AEW on this one. I can't agree with you on that. I'm sorry. I refuse to.
They had a better main event. I'm just saying.
At least for AEW, I don't find myself falling asleep during the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then again, exactly. You guys still made it entertaining. At least you guys made NXT entertaining. But I'm flipping through AEW tonight, and I'm just like, all right, that's kind of cool, but this is for the most part boring. And why is this happening? And why is this happening? And I love AEW. I love that I love wrestling. I love that we have different options now and stuff. But I was kind of disappointed in the product tonight, personally.
What would you give it a rating? What would your rating be?
My rating tonight, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. They put in the effort, but I'll give it like a low 3 out of 5. How about you?
I give it a 5. Nah, I give it a I'm gonna say I say a 4. I say a 4.
A 4.
I said 4. There was some hit or miss spots. I'm like, I could care less for Matt Hardy at this point. I hate to say it. He's a
Yeah.
legend. But original Matt Hardy, bland Matt Hardy, it doesn't do anything for me. Some of those matches, like the Acclaim versus Bear Country, that was an AEW dark match. They could have probably filled that with something else. I mean, like I said, we all knew that the whole point of that was just to get Sting and Darby on TV. The Hangman thing, it gives him a new challenger, so I was okay with that. I like I said, I love the whole Britt Baker being paired with the Bucks and Red Dragon and Adam Cole. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense, actually. And the whole the women's match could have been a lot better if they knew this was the route they was going to take. Now I feel like this match has to end like in a steel cage with those two, or like a last woman standing, and it has to be bloody and destructive for it to make sense. But overall, the show wasn't that bad. The main event, for two young talent, I can't complain because we complain about all the old guys always main event. So I'm not going to give that one. I'm going to say the two guys put on a great match. Daniel Garcia is going to be a star in the next couple of years. He's one of those that was served to be in with one of those veterans. Like, you know how like all these old school guys kind of take these wrestlers under their wing or whatever the case may be. He would be great to be under like a learning tree of like a Bryan Danielson or something of that nature.
Yeah. Well, he said he's working on a faction. I think.
Yeah, he should definitely be one of them.
Right in that joint.
Yep, exactly. So I mean, for what it is, that it got. I give it a 4. I give it a 4. It doesn't let up, so it doesn't give me a chance. The show never lets up, so it never gives me a chance to kind of have that down feeling.
Mm-hmm. And then they're promoting all the other shows. Like next week we have this, and then Friday.
That's one of the things I love about. That's kind of one of the things I love about it, though, because like how hyped could you be knowing like next week you could get like a CM Punk versus Bryan Danielson match? If you knew 7 days, now you know 7 days from now you got to tune in to see it. You know what I'm saying? Tony Khan does a lot of like promoting matches during the week too. He'll add more stuff to it, but to know like next week you'll get like a not to be excited about it, but get a CM Punk versus Shawn Spears match. This is because you know the storyline is going to be advanced more. You know they'll probably follow up on the Hangman match, and then have other things. Bryan Danielson will probably be back next week. You never know. He's been wrestling nonstop, so if he took a couple of weeks off, I wouldn't even be mad. They're going to continue to
like crazy.
Yeah, I would like to see what's the ending of this whole like Eddie Kingston and Jericho thing. What is that going to lead to? Like, is it going to lead to
and the show like
Santana?
Like,
because I think it's going to lead to Santana and Ortiz leaving. It's either going to lead to Santana and Ortiz leaving the Inner Circle, or it's going to lead to like Moxley coming back with Kingston and they destroy the whole Inner Circle.
I think Santana and Ortiz have to turn heel, especially like you really seeing like they're really honing in on tag teams. Let them turn heel.
But the thing is, do you really want them to turn heel? Because Eddie Kingston is a beloved face at this point. Do you just have Jericho turn heel, or do you have it where it's like Jericho gets caught saying something like, "Yeah, he's been using Santana and Ortiz the whole time," you know what I'm saying? Or he's been using the Inner Circle, so where the Inner Circle breaks up and leaves him.
No, I think it's kind of like those. It's a turn that's justified. Santana and Ortiz can come out and they can beat up on Jericho, and they can kind of be like, "Hey, look, this guy's been holding us back. It's always Chris Jericho. Every time we come out, we have to come out to Judas. That song sucks."
Or it could just be like, even if you remember months ago when they were doing the whole fake thing where Sammy kind of left the Inner Circle. Sammy told him. Even Sammy had a backstage thing with Santana and Ortiz one time when he told him, he was like, "When are you guys going to start sticking up for yourselves? When are you guys going to go after the tag team titles?" Seems to be the storyline, the hidden storyline between Santana and Ortiz is like they're so loyal that they tend to forget that they're a tag team and that they're there to win championships.
Yeah, I think that's a better story to tell. And it's like they turn heel, but it's like they actually kind of have a legit reason, because I feel like I feel like fans do kind of feel like that. I feel like it's as
But
far as Inner Circle, it's always about Chris Jericho and then everybody else. What's Jake Hager been doing for the past year?
Do they really have to turn heel though? Can they just tell Jericho like, look, like we decide to leave the Inner Circle, we just want to go after tag team titles or whatever? Like, do they really have to turn heel though to do it?
Well, I think it's more impactful. It gives them something to do. It gives them some type of momentum, and it gives people a reason to pay attention to them. If they just attack this legend and then go on this this mean tear, you know. And then the thing is that the current champions are baby faces, so now you have the heel baby face dynamic. So it kind of makes sense.
If I did fantasy booking, I'd have FTR win the titles back, and then have Santana and Ortiz versus FTR like all out. Or double or nothing.
I really like
double or nothing.
Just in general, I prefer heel champions over babyface champions. Like it's always boring when the babyface.
Yeah, because the heel champions could always seem to take advantage, and Young Bucks as heel champions were great.
Entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Here's a plot twist. What if Santana and Ortiz like beats up Jericho, but then they also beat up Kingston, and then like Jericho and Kingston have to join forces to fight Santana and Ortiz.
Man, you're booking yourself into a corner, my kid, my guy.
Because not necessarily. Because then Eddie Kingston can take a pin. Jericho, I don't mind. I don't think at this point Jericho would mind taking a pin to.
I don't think even Eddie Kingston would have to turn heel because he can just kind of be like, "Hey, look, this guy's holding you back." As a babyface, like, "Hey, look, this guy's just, look what he's doing. He's just trying to hold on to your coattail because he's 50-something years old."
If you think about it, Eddie Kingston's still a heel. He never really officially turned babyface.
But I think he's a good tweener, like a Stone Cold. Like Stone Cold,
he's a perfect example of what a tweener should be. Yeah, if you're a good guy or a bad guy, he don't like you either way.
He's just a New Yorker. He just gritty.
I think all New Yorkers are tweeners in their own way.
Yeah, right. If you gotta get gritty sometimes, you gotta get gritty sometimes. That's just what it is.
You gotta do what you gotta do to survive. Necessary. You gotta do what you gotta do to survive, man.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that wraps it up. Tomorrow is Thursday. We'll be back on Friday for Rampage and SmackDown. Exciting stuff. And then we're all going to get together for the Royal Rumble in what, 2-3 weeks? The 29th?
Yeah, we're going to have a Royal Rumble watch along. That should be very fun.
That's going to be super fun. I've never done anything like that. We'll
Me neither.
Drinking game out of it too.
Oh, yeah. Definitely play some friendly wagers on, who gets eliminated or who wins.
Yeah, if Kenny Omega enters the Royal Rumble, you have to chug a whole bottle.
That's the key. I'll take that chance then. I don't think I have
Kenny Omega or Tony Khan went to the Royal Rumble.
Of the Young Bucks.
Or the Young Bucks. Yo, that would be crazy. Only in video games.
I still got my money on Jericho though.
Jericho will definitely be there. Matt Hardy will definitely be there. Probably Braun Strowman.
Yeah, definitely Braun.
Yeah. Not Miro.
No, definitely not. Not anybody who took a shot at WWE over the last 6 months.
Not Malachi.
No. You might have a better chance of getting an Impact wrestler. Maybe Moose.
Matt Cardona.
Yeah, but he would have to come out to Zack Ryder's music. I hate to say it. And they would have to call him Zack Ryder again.
Oh gosh, they botched him too. Remember he was red hot with the internet championship and all that, and he was selling more merch than John Cena, and they were like,
his YouTube channel was on fire.
Squash him him with Kane.
Yep, that's
exactly John Cena steal his girlfriend.
Yeah, on TV, right in front of him, while he was in a wheelchair with flowers.
And he's a baby face. And he didn't get booed for that. That's the wild part. We can do a whole show on just worst WWE storylines. Oh, botched storylines, botched superstars, guys they dropped the ball on. WWE botches. That about wraps it up for us here at Wrestling Never Sleeps. If you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to get updated when we drop videos like this each and every single week. We'll be back next week for Wednesday Dynamite again, and we have a show on Friday for SmackDown and Rampage. So signing off for Mr. H, Tyro Howard, I'm Jared Never Sleeps. Thanks for watching, and it's still real to me, damn it. We'll see you next time. Have a good night, y'all.